and welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Rachel Amma and now I am back. It is the Christmas season, so I've got some Christmassy recipes for you guys. So I'm coming at you with two epic side dishes. I think the side dishes bring everything together. So I've got one which is using green beans and they're not boring. We're gonna season them up, make them nice and garlicky, and then I've got some toppings. We're gonna get some coconut flakes, mix them in with some smoked paprika, maple syrup. They're gonna be sweet, spicy, crunchy, and they're gonna sit on top. It's just gonna be epic. And the other recipe is like a cauliflower cheese, but vegan. So I really hope you guys are gonna Miley. Thanks, Marley. I really hope you guys are gonna enjoy these recipes as much as I do. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're excited for the Christmas themed recipes, and subscribe because I'm here every week with new videos to share with you guys. So let's get into the first recipe. So for the ingredients, I have got some coconut flakes. You can get these at health food stores and mainstream stores online. They don't really have much of a flavor, so we're gonna season them up and make them nice and crispy, salty and sweet. Then I've got my green beans, I've got some spring greens, a bit of onion, some lemon, lots of garlic, and we're gonna fry it up and bring it together. First step, garlic. You guys know how much I love garlic. So I've got a whole bulb. I'm probably gonna use about 6 cloves, but go as heavy or as light as you like to go. So you just wanna break it down, peel off the skins, crack it down with your hands, and then finally chop your garlic. You could use a grater, you could use a garlic thingy-mabobby, or just slice it up. So with my greens, I'm gonna give them a very quick wash in the sink. To saute my green beans, I'm gonna use some olive oil to cook them in. If you don't cook with oil, just don't use oil, but I'm gonna use oil. So you wanna put in a nice amount of extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, whichever is your favorite one. I'm gonna cook the onions until they start to brown. You just really want to get the onions to brown up just like this before you throw in the garlic and the green beans. Then I'm going to add in the garlic. And then I'm going to throw in all these green beans, and you're going to get that sizzle and it's going to be epic. Season it with a good pinch of salt and pepper. And you just want to start sauteing them until they start to color, and you can see they're kind of getting a little bit brown, which is what you want. If you want to make it extra tasty, choice is yours. Add a nice dollop of vegan butter, but it's up to you. It's going to be tastier. As well as the green beans, I've got some spring greens. You could use kale, you could use spinach, any of your favorite greens, just get them in there. So I'm going to start by pulling them apart. And then you want to finely chop them nice and small so that you don't get those long pieces that you have to pull out your mouth. You want to cut it up nice and small. So you want to add in your spring greens or your kale or your spinach right at the end, because they cook very, very quickly, and you want your green beans to already be basically cooked. We might just keep that in there. Yeah. Lastly, to my greens, I like to add in some nooch. If you don't know nooch, it's the vegan parmesan that doesn't quite taste like parmesan, but everyone likes to add it to things. It has like an umami kind of niceness. If you love it, add it. If you don't love it, just don't add it. And also, lastly, I like to squeeze on some fresh lemon juice. It helps intensify the flavors, and it also helps bring out the nutrients in your greens. So with my coconut flakes, nice crunchy flakes, we're gonna season them up, make them really, really delicious. So first things first, we're gonna put them into a bowl. Then we're gonna add in some soy sauce, and you can use coconut aminos if you don't use soy sauce. We're gonna add in some smoked paprika, some liquid smoke, and if you don't have liquid smoke, just add a little bit more soy sauce, and of course some maple syrup. And you're gonna mix that all together to combine before we throw it in the oven. And lastly, you just want to add in a little bit of olive oil. This will stop it from sticking to the pan and also add some more crispiness. So now that you've mixed it all, you've covered it all up, it's coated, it smells amazing. You want to put it in a preheated oven at about 200 degrees C in the UK, or 180 degrees C, depending on your oven. But keep an eye on it, because if you turn it up and you've added maple syrup and you don't keep an eye on it, it can burn easy. So keep an eye on it. 10 minutes max. You just want to lay it out evenly on a baking tray. If it's on a single layer, it gives it room to crisp up in the oven, which is what you want. Once you bring them out of the oven, if you leave it to set and cool, they're gonna get crispier and crispier. So now that the greens are done, they still have a little bit of a bite to them. You've got the onions that have slightly caramelized. We're gonna add on the crispy coconut bits just on the top, just to add a little bit more salty flavor to it. So what you can do if you've got loads left over, you want to have loads left over, Put them in a serving bowl and people can just help themselves to more. People are gonna get addicted to them. They're one of the most, those coconut flakes. Just put them aside. People are gonna be digging into those bad boys. So we've made our greens, they're looking epic, they're looking amazing, they taste amazing. Now we're gonna make a cheesy cauliflower minus the cheese, which means it's gonna be creamy, lots of flavors. We're adding some serious flavors in there to make it really hearty. Now when I was younger, I would have preferred this with macaroni instead of cauliflower, but now that I actually love cauliflower and I'm gonna use some broccoli too, it's a really nice way to get in those veggies, make them saucy and delicious. So we're gonna roast the broccoli and the cauliflower, and to make the sauce, we're gonna use cashew nuts. I like using cashew nuts. You could also use soy milk, you could use tofu, you could use whatever you like to do to make your creamy sauces. I like cashew nuts. We also wanna add in some fats in there, which makes it extra hearty. So I've got some coconut cream, and then I've got some lemon, some thyme, garlic, and to go on top, we're gonna make some nice crispy breadcrumbs, and there are a few extra magic ingredients that are going to go in there to make it really flavorful and punchy. So the cashew nuts are soaking. They've been soaking for at least 2 hours. To get going with the sauce, we're going to use some garlic, and you know me, use as much or as little garlic as you want to use. I'm going to go garlic crazy. So you just want to roughly chop it and get it nice and fine. And then we've got our cauliflower, and you want to cut this nice and small, but you also want to make sure that you cut them in even sizes, because that way they're all going to cook at the same time. You don't want to have some bits that are a bit firm and then some bits that are a little bit softer. We want them all to be roughly the same. Then after we've cut up our cauliflower, we're also going to roughly chop up some broccoli. Now use as much as you can to reduce the amount of waste, so get it all in there. Before I make the sauce, I'm going to get the broccoli and the cauliflower, I'm going to put it in the oven and slightly roast it, just so we semi-cook it before we get it all up in that sauce. So you're going to roast these in a preheated oven at about 180 degrees C, just until they brown up a little bit. So to make our creamy sauce, I've got my cashew nuts, I've drained them. I'm going to throw those straight into a blender, and you just want to add some water, blitz it up until it's nice and smooth, and then you've got a nice creamy cashew sauce. And then we're going to start adding in all the extra flavors that are going to give it that extra. And just like that, we got a nice creamy cashew nut milk, and we're going to use that to make the sauce. But first things first, we want to make a little bit of a roux. So I'm going to add some oil to the pan. If you don't cook with oil, you know, cook with water, whatever floats your boat. Once it started to heat up, we're going to add in the garlic, and we're going to cook it until it's translucent. And now we're going to add some flour. The flour is going to help thicken it up to get really, really creamy and delicious. Almost forgot to add in the thyme. You really want to get some fresh thyme in there. It's going to bring out some flavors. Then we're going to pour in a whole bunch of our cashew nut milk. So you want to pour the cashew milk in bit by bit. And you want to use a whisk to make sure you combine it with the flour, just so that you don't get any lumps and bumps, and just keep smoothing it out. If you need to add a little bit more water, go ahead, but it should be fine. And I want to add loads of flavors. So I'm going to add in some English mustard. I've got some miso paste for those umami flavors. A little bit of smoked paprika, because it's going to add a little flavor. Add a little bit of cayenne pepper. I wanted to, I just couldn't find any. And then of course some nutritional yeast, and top with some salt and pepper, and that is going to make our sauce really tasty and savory and umami. Yes. So the coconut cream is just going to make it extra rich and thick and delicious. Oh, that is so good. Wow. Oh boy. Yeah. So now you've got your roasted cauliflower and broccoli. You just want to get it into that creamy, vegan, cheesy sauce. To go on top, to make it nice and crispy, I've got some kind of almost stale sourdough bread. I'm going to blend that up so we can make our own homemade breadcrumbs. It's just going to make it all crispy and delicious. Now that we've got our breadcrumbs, they're gonna add a nice crispy layer on top of our cauliflower. So to make the breadcrumbs extra tasty, I'm gonna add in some olive oil, which is gonna help it crisp in the oven, as well as some salt, black pepper, some fresh thyme, a little bit more nutritional yeast. Here's some I spilled earlier. And some crushed almonds or macadamia nuts, whichever are your favorite. And it's gonna make this kind of like vegan parmesan crispy layer on top. With those breadcrumbs, we're just gonna sprinkle it on top to add that crispy layer. And then finally, just add a little touch of olive oil, and it's gonna help it crisp up in the oven. So you wanna preheat your oven to about 180 degrees, throw it in there until it all browns up, gets nice and thick and delicious. Now that it's come out of the oven, you can see it has crisped up at the top, just how we wanted it. It's nice and golden brown, and the creamy sauce is bubbling away. It's honestly so good. I'm literally gonna top it with a few chili flakes just because I like a little bit of heat in my food. So simple, so hearty, so delicious. Add this to your Christmas dinner, you will not regret it. So we're gonna taste test these two recipes. They're epic. The kitchen smells incredible. They're kind of merging together, which is what would happen anyway if you was at Christmas and you had your plate of food. Everything, all the sauces just get combined. So first we're gonna go with this creamy broccoli and cauli. You would think, right? You would think there's cheese in here, but there's not. It's just some amazing flavors, umami. Oh, it's so hearty. You're not gonna regret it. Then we got the greens and a little bit of coconut flakes, which are slightly spicy, sweet, salty, crunchy. No. Oh, This is delicious. Make sure you serve these this Christmas. Oh, lovely. Oh, vegetables are so underestimated. They literally make your Christmas. So I'm gonna leave the full recipes in the description down below so you guys can make them. If you do make them, let me know on Instagram. I wanna see what you guys get up to. Obviously, if you want more of my recipes, I do have a cookbook out, Rachel Lammer's Vegan Eats, which has over 100 recipes. Vegan recipes, epic recipes. So check that out if you want more of my recipes. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm here next week. Actually, next week, I'm gonna share with you some more really delicious recipes. So make sure you stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, leave your comments down below, hit me up on Instagram because I'm always there posting and sharing stuff too. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed these recipes as much as I have. Honestly, very excited for the munch I'm about to have. Don't miss out. Make these recipes this Christmas. Promise ya, you're gonna love it.